Oh my god, she's a weirdo.
Hello, 'tis I, fat cow. The lives just keep appearing. Ironically enough, because Foodie has no actual life. And this is the only way she gets to communicate with another human being or human beings, allegedly, is on the internet because although Salah was there yesterday, he's probably not around long enough for an actual conversation. He did say, I'm going to bed in about an hour to her. And I thought it was rather cheeky that the second he comes in, she asks him to get her some water, which means she's probably been sat there for like 4 hours wanting water, but is too lazy to go and get it herself. But anyway, I will address a few things in order that they came in during the live, and then I'll add a little bit extra stuff uh, at the end that pertains to what I was told yesterday at the hospital and linking it into Foodie because I'm clever like that. Right, first, the community post. The I'm whatever going to enjoy my first Halloween in Canada for 3 years. Is it your first Halloween in Canada? It's not your first autumn in Canada. But anyway, you're trying to sell the idea that you're going to Canada a tad too hard, sweetheart. You might want to back up a bit if you want people to, fall for this nonsense. Additionally, seeing as you put a picture of Sansa on the internet, I'm allowed to talk about Sasa, not Sansa. I love Sansa. Sansa's a great person, and she's not obsessed with you, Foodie. She's just thorough in her research, which is something you wouldn't understand. But I digress. Sasa didn't need school fees to be raised for her. Under any circumstances whatsoever, there is not a single incident where Sasa would require school fees, whether public or privately, at all. Any public school that takes on a child with needs, the child would be integrated into secondary school after the age of 12, which Sasa isn't, so it doesn't apply. All special needs private schools in Syria are for secondary school pupils. Sasa is not old enough to attend. And all other schools are public and are a special class within kindergarten schools for the ages of 8 till 15, which Sasa does qualify for, but doesn't require any school fees. So where did that $1,000 go, Foodie? Secondly, the change in profile picture isn't Foodie reverting back to her Western ways and a declaration of her intention of not being a hijabi. The picture itself shows no neck, no chin, no skin, apart from the face, no hair, and therefore still fulfills the requirement, the picture of somebody who chooses to be a hijabi. The outfit itself doesn't fulfill that particular requirement, but the photo does. So it's not an indication of Foodie deciding not to be a hijabi. In real life, that outfit wouldn't qualify, but as I've said before, covering your hair is not a mandated requirement of being a Muslim. The Quran does not say cover your hair. It does not use the words hair. The Quran says to be modest. There's no mention of hair whatsoever in the Quran in terms of covering. Does say cover your bosom. Also says don't have clickety clackety heels on your shoes. Anyway, Foodie is still asking for money. In fact, she says she's going to do a live scooter fundraiser. I'm sure that will go wonderfully well. And commenting on the fact that Wanda is now being referred to as Wanda the Wallet, I thought it was very interesting the choice of words that Foodie used when she said that Wanda was very valued. Yes, she is very valued in terms of the amount of money she contributes, isn't she, Foodie? Foodie is also very annoyed that people keep asking her when she's leaving. It's almost as if she understands that people don't believe she's going at all. And the phrase, you do not deserve to bees, if you put negative comments in or you interfere with Foodie's piece. You do not deserve to bees. Wow, arrogant much? As if beesing is the holy grail of online entertainment and we should be grateful of being allowed to bees? So that's what's missing from my life. Wow. Also, Foodie claiming to be too mature for this shit. The woman who literally hasn't matured past, if I'm being generous, 12 years of age emotionally. You are a child, Foodie. You have the right mental age for this shit, judging by how you're reacting in this live itself. And then a commenter asked, why would you stay married on paper? To which Salah said, which I found quite interesting, so I can keep a check on her. Why would you need to keep a check on her? You're divorced. You've wiped your hands of her. There's no need to keep an eye on how she's behaving, unless, of course, she's still representing you in some way, shape or form. And that Salah can't talk to any women if he's still married to you on paper. Salah can and has and probably still is talking to other women, even though not only are you married, but you're in the same country as him and living in the same domicile as him, allegedly. I think he's staying with friends or family, but that's a different conversation. Additionally, Foodie, didn't you once say that it doesn't count as cheating if the couple are in different countries? You said that about the married Turkish guy you were having sex with, who had a wife and children, but in a different country. You said that yourself. So if you do go to Canada, unlikely, and move there, unlikely, but stay married to Salah on paper, it doesn't matter who he sticks his pickle into, because in your own words, it doesn't count as cheating. I agree with Foodie when she says there's worse things in life than being fat. I've been a narcissist, been a liar, been a manipulator, participating in emotional blackmail, just being verbally abusive. Yeah, there's a lot of worse things than being fat, Foodie. And your size isn't why the majority of people dislike you so much. Now, this is a very, very telling statement, and I want to end this particular portion of my discussion with this quote. I feel like God is, I don't know, I feel like God is telling me that it's not a good idea to go to Canada. So not only are you about to declare you're too unfit and unwell to travel and leave Syria, you're also going to say it's God's plan. And who can argue against God's intentions? I mean, conveniently plausible argument. God has decided I shouldn't leave. Anyway, as you may or may not know, I went to the hospital yesterday. I had an appointment with an orthopedic surgeon to discuss my spine. Now, the reason we're discussing my spine is because I have been having issues with my legs going numb. And I'm now under the umbrella of a neurologist and this particular gentleman that I saw yesterday. Now, at the end of the day, the majority of the issues are partly because of my fibromyalgia and have a lot to do with something going wrong with my nerves. There's a lot of big words being thrown about as possibles, all of which are very, very scary. I looked them up. I scared the shit out of myself, and now I've decided that I'm not going to give it any more thought. I'm going to wait until I've had an actual diagnosis by a qualified professional, because there's no point in speculating what if I've got this particularly horrible condition on top of my fibromyalgia or not. So we're ignoring that until we know better. Now, the main thing I took from the appointment yesterday is in the last 10 years, I've lost 3 centimeters in height. And that is because on the very lower part of my lumbar region, the C4, C5, and C6 bits, 2 of my discs are completely gone, and a third is on its way out. And as subsequently, my spine has fused itself or is fusing itself. There's a lot of fluid that's gone. The ligaments are struggling somewhat. Now, that's all well and good. Not really, but that's the facts. I'm currently not at the stage where I would require further interference other than pain medication, which I'm already on because of my fibromyalgia. Should the condition worsen and my flexibility and my ability to move and my ability to walk and my incidences of sciatica increase, then the next stage would be steroid injections. But the treatment currently recommended for this particular part of my overall condition is to lose weight and to keep the flexibility that I do have with either yoga or Pilates. It's basically use it or lose it at this point. Now, this is where I link into Foodie. You also will appreciate that because of my gallbladder that I ended up in hospital for 2 weeks with, I have to avoid high-fat foods to avoid having another gallbladder attack. And in a month's time, I'm having the gallbladder removed. But prior to that, I have to go on a liver shrinkage diet, which is incredibly strict. And again, after the gallbladder is removed, I have to maintain the really low-fat diet, or else I will, Foodie, without a gallbladder. If I eat junk food, high-fat food, I will shit myself. Does that sound familiar? So a weight loss for one condition is going to also benefit the other condition anyway. But we're looking at a weight loss of around 25 kilos, ideally. I have already lost 25 kilos, so I'm halfway there, accidentally. But anyway, This leads me on to Foodie Beauty. Now, according to Salah, he casually mentioned at one point very recently that Foodie is 200 kilograms. And she's 5'1". Although I'd imagine, judging by what's happened to me in the last 12 years, she's probably not 5'1" anymore. She's probably 5 foot, maybe even 4 foot something now. Now, I currently weigh 103 kilos and I'm a good 6 inches, used to be 7 and a bit, taller than Foodie. So I'm half her weight, roughly. And I have no trouble believing Salah at all, no difficulty at all believing that Foodie is 200 kilograms. Not at all. No difficulty believing him whatsoever. So I'm almost half the weight of Foodie and I'm 6 inches taller. And yet, 2 separate medical disciplines have told me I need to lose weight and be more active, or else I'm going to end up in a wheelchair and shitting myself. Oh, God, that's a very Foodie laugh, isn't it? Where the fuck did that come from? Oh, I don't like that. So, I'm significantly taller than Foodie. I'm half the weight of Foodie, and yet I'm being told again and again and again, I need to lose weight, or else I will lose my mobility, and I will have other complications digestively, which Foodie has arguably been suffering from, in her own words. So if me, somebody who is technically obese, have a BMI of about 35, and you need a BMI of 29.9 to be classified as overweight. So I'm obese. I'm not morbidly obese. I'm not super morbidly obese. I'm not super morbidly obese. And I'm not the category of obese that Foodie is, which doesn't actually medically have a name currently, because anybody that has a BMI of over 60 is actually off the charts. Good job, Foodie. So, if my health, my future mobility rests entirely on me losing 20 kilos, and Foodie is arguably 140 kilos overweight currently, what condition is Foodie in currently beyond the untreated diabetes, the alleged asthma, the risk of blood clots, the IBS, because you eat crap and you have no gallbladder, you no longer have a vessel in your body to store bile, and bile is necessary to digest fat. And because you don't have this, you're not digesting the fat, so it just gets warmed up and passes through your body as a greasy thing, along with everything else you've eaten, because it's been lubricated. And that's why you need the bathroom almost immediately after eating. Not because of what you've just ate, but because what you've just ate is kind of having an argument with what you ate previously. And that's why things come out so quickly. That's medical information from you. Very professionally described. So, Foodie's spine must be shocking. 1. 2, my doctor said that we all carry our weight at the front of us. which makes sense because although people do get fat backs and large behinds, fat backs are like the last resort of fat storage that the body resorts to in the hierarchy of what gets bigger first. You know, there's certain areas of your body that only start getting really disproportioned when the body literally has nowhere else to store fat, which is an interesting thing about liposuction. If you have fat removed from one place, there's no fat cells there anymore to get fat. So your body will increase the fat should you overeat somewhere else. And your proportions can go very, very bizarre because you might have a narrow waist because there's no fat cells there anymore because you vacuumed them out. So your body will think, oh, I know, I'll store the fat on the arms. I'll store the fat on your ankles. I'll store the fat somewhere else. And so the proportions will start getting very peculiar if after liposuction you gain significant amounts of weight afterwards. Now, the doctor said this, and I'm going to repeat it verbatim. He said, for every kilo of weight I lose, it feels like to my spine 4 kilos of strain removed. For every kilo I lose, my back will thank me because it will feel like 4 kilos of strain has been removed from it because of obviously the weight of the fat that's gone and the gravity and everything. So think about that. A kilo of fat is 4 kilos of pressure on the spine. And Foodie is currently sitting, laying down, at about 140 kilos in excess. My back hurts continuously. I cannot imagine what Foodie has done to herself. She can walk about 2 minutes in her own words. A couple of more kilos, 5 more kilos weight gain, which will happen if she goes to Canada for her vacation because she'll eat herself to immobility. And if she does live there, which she won't, and gets a scooter, she will gain even more weight. She stays in Syria and is pacified by pay monthly hubby with him throwing food at her so that he can go out and have fun with his friends and family. And she just sits at home eating, but is less aggro about it because she's got food. Because we all know if Foodie runs out of food, she accuses you of wanting to kill her, which is a little bit excessive, admittedly. But we all have our ways of coping with stuff, I guess. So there's just that. What I was told yesterday, which I kind of already knew, and I've been trying. It's a very slow process with me, but it's happening. Made me think about Foodie's condition and her spine. She's probably not 5'1" anymore, given the weight she is. And she's definitely 200 kilos. Anyway, I shockingly have been, am, and will continue to do what my doctor suggests because I will die fighting before I lose my mobility. Absolutely will die fighting. I'm not going to lose my mobility, even if the neurologist gives me the diagnosis that seems the most probable. I am not going to lose my mobility any more than I have already. So Yeah, Foodie, I know you don't like me, and I know you would not take advice from an individual such as myself, because I'm obviously weird, I'm allegedly demonic, and what was it you said? Oh, yeah, your best insult about me by far. I look like a bull's testicles. You, my dear, are